sometimes we cry.
This is where we get real about being human. The slip-ups, the regrets, the bad calls, and the funny stories we'd rather forget. Sometimes the worst mistakes are the best. But at the end of the day, we're all just losers. I'm your host, Josh, and this is The Great Mistakes.
For my great successes and my great mistakes.
Guys, welcome to the Great Mistakes podcast. I'm your host, Josh. This is my friend, David Clark, Georgia State Senator, running for Lieutenant Governor, right?
That's right.
Swapping out a title and a job, hopefully. And we just wanted to talk about some things we think are important, see where you're at, see where you're going, and what do you have to tell the residents of Georgia.
Yeah, so, appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Anytime. I'm glad you came out on the day before Thanksgiving. I know there's probably a lot going on at home. My house, for sure.
Hey, but when you get invited on this podcast, you got to say yes and jump at it.
Yeah, it's pretty exclusive. Not going to lie. Well, so how's it going? How's it work running for Lieutenant Governor? So when do we vote? How does that work? How do you gain our attention? Like, how's this? Tell me about everything.
Yeah, so big state. And when you run a statewide, it's I serve in the state house. Okay. But now running for the lieutenant governor, I mean, it's definitely a big state. I mean, you have the metro, and then you have the south, rural Georgia, the mountains. Okay. And a lot of traveling, a lot of raising money. You got to raise millions. Big race. Okay. And actually, I was not. I think I told you a little bit, but I had no plans July 29th to run. Yeah. And then I had a House colleague in leadership call me, and he goes, "Hey, who you backing for LG?" And I was like, probably nobody. Because I've been down there for 11 years. I know who's running. I know what they have done. I know their lives behind the scenes. And so I told him, probably nobody, but there's one I'm still looking at. And he dropped a name on the phone. And I said, yeah, that's who I'm still looking at if I do back somebody. And he goes, well, some serious allegations are coming out. But if he can beat the allegations, he could be the next LG. And I was like, there was no way I'm putting my name.
LG stands for Lieutenant Governor,
yeah,
right?
Cool. Lieutenant Governor. And I was like, there was no way I'm going to put my name, my reputation on him being able to beat these allegations. And so I was telling my wife that July 29th at dinner. July 29th is her birthday. And I was just telling her I was upset. Because, I'm big, if you follow my politics, and you and I have talked a lot about this, is the frustration with politicians, people running. It's always about the title. It's always about themselves, usually. And they make these promises, and they never follow through when they get elected. They don't fight for the people. They start fighting for the special interest.
Same story, copy and paste for the past 200 years. Yeah.
Exactly, every time. And so I was telling her that, and then she just said directly to me while having dinner, she goes, why don't you run? And she was like,
That's all she had to say, huh?
Yeah. She was like, do you decide to wrap your time up in the military? Because we have 3 kids now. It's being crazy. And she was like, you don't have any skeletons. Why don't you pray about running? And so started praying, called my pastor, called a few of my mentors. I always believe you need to have good mentors around you, keep you accountable in life, keep you focused so you don't step out of line, go a direction you shouldn't be going at that time in your life.
I've got some bumper rails on my bowling alley for sure.
Yeah. And you need that, right? Yeah. So I talked to them, and I called a few of my big donors. Because, it's a multi-million-dollar race. You don't just announce and go run. Even guys like us who have served in, special operations and done awesome things. It's like you still got.
Luckily, I'm too poor to run against you. So.
Well, I'm glad you're not running against me. But so, anyways, we launched our campaign August 12th, and I'm gonna go in 6 days a week traveling, campaigning, traveling the state, and I take a day off. I
know you've been busy, man. You look tired.
I'm energized, man. Fired up. So
and soon.
And then actually 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, they had a statewide poll done that showed all 5 of us. So there's 5 of us in the race. There's 4 senators. I'm the one coming from the House. And
you're in the House, not Senator. Did I say Senator earlier?
Yeah. Matt, same thing, kind of.
You got to educate me and everyone listening. So.
Yeah, there's the state Senate and then the state House.
Yeah.
So but the poll came out, we're all within 3 points of each other. And the other 4 guys have been campaigning, a lot of them like 3.5 years ago. Because, politics, like politicians, it's always the next move. They're always gearing up. They're always planning. They're always scheming. And
they get this position, and it's like, okay, time to focus on what the next one is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. They were already sitting down with donors, traveling the state behind the scenes. So for us to be within 3 points of each other is huge.
You just decided.
Yeah, and I just did.
That's great.
I had no plans. And then, so it's like 72% undecided, and we're all within 3 points of each other. So, I know I get my message out, and I have a proven track record of standing up to the left and to even members of my own party. And I think that's what people want. People are tired of people, oh, well, I'm just a Republican, so I'm just going to do whatever the leadership wants me to do. When it's like, dude, do the right thing. I always tell people, yes, I'm conservative. I mean, I'm absolute conservative. But the biggest thing about me is right is right and wrong is wrong. Yeah. Common sense, doing the right thing, looking at bills and policies saying, hey, can it for generations to go? Is it sustainable? Is it physically responsible, right? Does it make sense? Does it line up with the Constitution, with our freedoms, right? Of what you and I both fought for. Yeah. And so I'm excited. I mean, I've been traveling Georgia and left and right, winning people over, and I'm going to do that till May 19th.
So what typically, are some things that your people that are running against you, maybe you agree on or versus don't agree on? Like, what are the hot topics in Georgia right now? Like the most important thing that you probably, kind of have to focus on for your potentially next, position.
I mean, I'll say 99.9% of the time we vote the same way,
right.
Outwardly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always tell people this. The biggest difference is when you lay your head down at night on a pillow, who do you trust? Who's going to take a bullet for your family? Who's going to stand up and do the right thing? Who's not going to sell out? And if you go look at me, and people can Google me, go to ChatGPT, they can put my name in there. And, I've shown that I've never lived for the title. I mean, back in 2019, you could actually look this up. But the former Speaker of the House, he had tweaked a 100-year law in 2005. And what it allowed was for 100 years, you could use continuances as an attorney in the House or the Senate. So while we're in session, January to April, you could push your court cases till after session, which makes sense because, we're like 24/7 those 3 months, passing the budget, passing the laws and the bills. But he had tweaked a law to where he could use it all year long, all those who are attorneys. So it came out in the AJC in 2019. I just got a chairmanship, which is kind of a big deal in politics. You preside over a committee. I was on a bunch of other big committees. Just got it. And then it came out in the AJC that he had been using his law practice, holding cases up 10 to 15 years old for pedophiles, rapists, domestic abusers, and where he would just send a letter in every day at court and go, oh, I'm busy doing the people's business. He never had to prove it. He'd just send a simple letter saying, I'm doing the people's business. And so this one jumped out at me, and it was this young girl. She was 11 years old, got raped. Never had a day in court in 10 years, almost. And so I saw that, and I'm a dad. And we had just had 10 years. And we had just had Madison, my oldest, and she's 7 now, but at that time she was 6 months old. And having kids, like, dude, she's daddy's girl. Like, I would die for her. I'll give my life. I love her. I'll defend her. And I remember I went in the speaker's office and I actually said these exact words, and knowing the repercussion of what was to come if he didn't go down. But doing the right thing is what matters, right? Yeah, so I went in there and I told him, I said, hey, Jesus loves you. I love you. Thank you for my chairmanship, all my big committees. I was vice chair on appropriations on the budget. And I told him, I said, but this article that came out, specifically this little girl, I said, I'm sorry, my biggest things are, defending women, children, those who are weaker, right? Letting them have a voice, protecting them. And I told him, I said, who am I as a man? We all run in politics, all of us, in some roundabout way. We all say we're going to fight for you and your families as if you're my own. And I said, how can I be a man and not call you out? I said, this girl was raped, 10 years, no day in court. And I said, I got to be honest with you. If that was my girl, 10 years, I'm going to kill you and the rapist. And I said, who am I as a man not to call you out? So
there's a lot of people out there that would be the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Because you trade your life, your kid, and it missed it, right?
But politics changes that, though, where we see all the time. People cover each other because, oh, that's my buddy. He's elected. I can't call that out. And it's like, no, you ran not to be a part of the elite establishment. You ran your words to say, I'm going to fight for you and your families as if you're my own, right? Your district, your state. And so he actually stripped my chairmanship, took all my committees. And then 22, I was gone off the grid with the Green Berets doing some stuff. Gave my wife power of attorney. She was pregnant with our second child. And she qualified me. Came back a week before the election, won 60-40 in a redrawn district. The speaker and his group spent almost $1 million against me. And outspent me 18-1. We won 60-40 in a redrawn district against the majority caucus chair. So
that says a lot.
Yeah. So I think that's my big thing. I tell people is that, look, I've been in the House. I have experience. I've been in business. I've been in the military. I've been willing to give my life. Love this country. But the biggest thing is I'm willing to stand up for you and your family. As somebody who has no voice, no money, nothing to give me, I'm going to stand for you. And I think I've shown that.
And I know that. And I know that firsthand, too, because I remember calling you last year or 7-8 months ago whenever there was a bill being put up for some of the VA stuff. And I called you, said 5 minutes, and you're like, all right, I think that's the right thing to do.
Yep.
Come on this day and you can speak at the House. And I'm like, oh, shit, just like that, I better buy some new clothes and shave. So
When you came down looking
I'll brush
good,
my
man.
teeth, yeah. So,
But no, I mean, those are the things. It's like being a voice, listening to people, standing up, and just do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm not meant to be in politics, and God's blessed me, I won that huge race in 22. But like, that's what the people want. I mean, even though I am an absolute conservative, but like Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents, I always tell them, you don't have to agree with me on everything, but I love you, I care about you, and I want to do the right thing. I'm going to listen to you, and we're going to have open discussion, debates, even if we disagree. Like, I'm going to listen to you. And I think that's what people want.
Yeah, well, that's the American way, is disagreement.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. That's how we were created, on a disagreement, right? And, that's one thing we kind of stray away from, right, is, left, right. I don't like that. But, if you don't talk about it, you automatically shut someone else down. That shows more of a paralleled, or more of a, an opposite, oil and water situation than somebody that can, we can maybe figure something out on how to agree to it, right?
Yep.
So,
I mean, I always tell people all the time, they come to my office down at the Capitol, especially during session. I have a lot of Georgia State students come in writing papers and all that. And I always tell them, and I've told this to kids, I know they were not all conservative, some very left.
Yeah.
But I've always told them this: you want to make America truly, truly great. Don't talk about religion or politics at the dinner table is so wrong. Yeah. Like, we should have open discussion about everything. And I always tell them, I don't care if it's pro-life, pro-choice, gay, straight, trans, marriage, this, that, whatever. Like, we can have our beliefs, but if we don't have the talks and the discussions, and if I come to you with, I'm not biased, I have my beliefs, but like, I don't have this hidden agenda, and I love you and you love me.
Yeah.
We should be able to discuss everything. How's that wrong?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like
me and you disagree on a lot of shit. But
exactly.
We talk on the phone for an hour every time we call each other, and you know what? At the end of it, it's like, you know what? Maybe I should be more flexible with this. Maybe it does make sense that he says it this way, or maybe we can work something out together. Like, oh, he kind of like, maybe this is better this way. So
and actually, it makes us better when I hear your point of view, how you grew up, where you came to believe the things you believe. Same way with me. You walk away, even if we totally disagree, still on some of these. I mean, we agree on a lot of things, but there are things we can disagree. But it doesn't mean you're a bad guy or I'm a bad guy. I mean, unless you hate America, you hate the Constitution, you want to burn the whole country down. It's like, hey, maybe you need to.
There's a place for you.
Yeah. But the majority of people are just trying to put food on the table, put a roof over their kids' heads, and they just want the basic things.
We all have the same problems because we live in the same place, most of us.
Exactly.
And like having a good conversation about it, it makes you walk away from each other with respect, at least, right?
Yep.
Because if you're just yelling at each other from a distance, that doesn't get anything solved.
No, it doesn't. And I think it's like, unless you, to anybody, I always tell people don't care about facts, nothing, until they know you care about them, you're willing to listen to their story and who they are. Then they'll open up and you can have actual real conversation. I think that's the problem in politics. You see a lot of times politicians, it's political rhetoric, both sides.
Yeah.
They want to create something that goes viral that just makes people angry, and then they go use that to fundraise or whatever, push their agenda, when it's like, dude, you can also be compassionate. And I always believe this. I mean, my faith means a lot to me, but I always believe this. I used to be a person of truth, which I still am, but truth with passion. And I think passion can be dangerous, where I see more in the Bible, at least with Jesus, was like truth with compassion. Passion's in compassion. But like, have that compassion to people, like to see their side. And even if you don't agree, if you just listen to them, you can still understand where they're coming from, even though you don't agree with their point of view. Listen to them. And I think that's the problem with what's going on in America, is we are so divided because you don't look like me, agree with what I believe, then you're a bad person. It's like, how is that, even common sense?
I think that one thing that most people can agree on is men shouldn't go in women's restrooms.
No, 100%.
Which is crazy to think that there's people who disagree with that. Like I know there's this lady who I follow, and I think obviously she probably lives in a left state or wherever it is, and like a dude goes in. Have you seen this? The Gold's Gym deal?
Oh yeah, yep.
Like, I hate to bring up such a controversial thing, but I don't care. So, like, basically, this lady is a lesbian woman, and she's in the women's locker room where they go, and she's changing, and a man with a penis is there, and it makes her uncomfortable. A, she's not attracted to men. She's a lesbian woman. B, it's her space.
Yep.
She's in the gym. She feels vulnerable. She goes and tells the staff, and they ban her. And come to find out, this guy is not only, of course, he identifies as whatever, and that's fine if you want to do that. However, this guy, he had a history of like spousal abuse and all kinds of things, and you're like, okay, how is he the victim?
Yep.
for self-identity. You can identify as whatever you want, but that doesn't change how you make someone else feel. It has nothing to do with them. So, and that's one thing which, I'm centrist on a lot of stuff. I lean left on a lot of things. I lean right.
But that one, but even the majority of Americans are against
biology.
That. Yeah,
brother.
It's biology. Yep.
That's, like, I haven't seen many women play in the NFL for a reason. I'm sure if they could make it, there would be a lot more in there.
Oh,
and what's that tell you? Because she would make a lot of money too.
Yep.
Like, just.
I
Like
mean, same way when that it was Fox something. It was that man who identifies as a woman did MMA back. It was I think 2012, and literally fractured the skull of the actual woman that he was fighting against. I mean, and she went to the hospital, had all these stitches, had to have surgery, everything, and it's just like, no, what made different? I'm sorry. And it's like, and then also, you're not going to send a dude goes walking in the bathroom and my daughter's in there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The alpha male's going to come out of me. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah. And there's going to be handcuffs and an ambulance.
Yep.
Where one of us is going in both.
But I think where we've got to that point, though, is enough people not standing up on common sense stuff.
Yeah.
And you got this momentum going to where they try to act like it's the majority, and it's not. I mean, majority of Democrats are absolutely against men and girl sports. But somehow, because
they can't say it because it's gonna because there's such a dumb situation where if you have to, everyone has to identify on the right as this, everyone has to identify with this on the left. No one can have their own independent thought, and that's the true problem because there's nothing's black and white, nothing. That's why I painted this wall gray yesterday. Yep. You know what I mean? There's an in-between in everything. So, like, that's what we got to gear towards.
I mean, this was crazy. I don't know if you saw this past session. Yeah. You saw the entire Democratic House caucus get up, walk out. We were voting on a bill to not let our taxpayer dollars pay for gender reassignment surgery to our those in prison. Like, I mean, they shouldn't be using...
What's the point of that?
Exactly. And they were, like, trying to call us, we're discriminating, we're racist, we're,
you might
transphobic.
As well pay for their tattoos too.
Exactly. It's like, when does this stop? And it's like, again, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, and it's like, and I'm not saying, I've told people this all the time. If there was a transgender conference, I don't know if there is one, but anyways, you could go.
I'll see some hot. Anyways,
I mean, you could go set up a hug booth. Representative David Clark, when I become the lieutenant governor, I'll go hug the hell out of some people.
Right on.
I don't hate anybody, but I can disagree with a lifestyle, and I'm not hating somebody. I have my belief, and you're taking stands, and especially with...
Dude, I don't even disagree with the lifestyle. It's just that you're a biological dude trying to do some things you probably shouldn't be doing. That's like...
Yep.
I think almost everyone except for the loud minority understand that. And the more, it's okay to say it, whether you're left or right. It's okay to say it. Just say it.
But I do think a generation is coming up, even ours and younger, are starting to realize, hey, you can go speak your mind, you can talk. I mean,
anybody can start a podcast.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yep. And it's good to have these discussions, and even uncomfortable conversations is good because it grows all of us. I mean, I've learned. I mean, I'm absolutely pro-life. I mean, I am pro-life, but like, listen to somebody who's pro-choice. Listen to where they come from. And
we've talked about this. Yeah.
And their viewpoints. It's good to have these discussions, and it doesn't mean you're bad or I'm bad. Mm-hmm. We have these discussions, and then we have the beliefs of what we think is life and this and that. But like, how does it make us bad if we have a different of a viewpoint? It doesn't make us any less American. It doesn't mean we're evil.
Doesn't. Yeah.
And it's like, and then if you want to win somebody over, you got to keep having those conversations to maybe try to prove your point. And that's what makes America great and has made our nation amazing. Is in the past we have been willing to have tough discussions and talk about it. And then be willing to have compromise. I mean, compromise is not a bad thing. If we can't agree on, my point of view or yours, then you're not a dictatorship. I'm not a king. Right. It's a democratic republic. So therefore, compromise is fine if you're not doing pay to play, right? Or, sleazy, corrupt things. Hey, we have to meet in the middle because you have a vote, I have a vote, and somebody else has a vote. So somebody has to somehow come in the middle. So I mean, it's not bad. I don't believe. And then,
well, the thing is, I also think that most people, regardless of like who you vote for, like you do have the best intentions in life. You just have a different understanding of what they are or how you feel based on where you come from or how you were raised or, what your parents taught you and all that. So, like, everyone wants to do. Most people want the good things to be done, right? And they just think the good thing is something else than you do. And I pretty sure, like of course, like with a trans rights thing, of course, like that person should be able to do things, and of course they should be able to vote. Of course, they shouldn't get beat up in the street for looking different. Like everyone agrees on that. There's just extremes with everything that you don't necessarily have to align with if you don't want to. And,
I think though one of the biggest things though is why you see this decline in our nation, which is happening. I mean, unless you wake back up, really being proud to be Americans, proud of who we are, heritage, and all that, the good, the bad, the ugly, which I could talk about that all day long. I mean, overwhelmingly, it's amazing. I mean, I'm sorry, even good, the bad, the ugly, because it's the greatest nation in the world. You've been all over the world.
Yeah.
We've been to other places, and like we're blessed to live in America. But I think this is the number one thing that's crushing America is you go look at the Declaration of Independence, right? And you go look at the men on there. If you go study them, like first time in history, in a revolution that you have, instead of the poor, the peasant versus the king, the dictator, it's these prominent men. And a lot of them wealthy. And you go look at John Hancock, the largest signature on there, and you have to wonder why it was so large. He was a merchant. So the moment he signed it, he knew the British ruled the seas, that they took his ships the moment he signed it, and it's like he's willing to give up his today for our tomorrow. And you think about this today, and this is something, I say on the campaign trail because it's the core of who I am, and this is why it's why I'm running and why I believe our country's declining is this. If you held that up right now, a blank Declaration of Independence to every politician, Democrats and Republicans, and you said, you're going to be the original signers, and you could be hung for treason, your family, you killed, your family killed, lose your house, everything.
All your stocks you insider traded.
Exactly, that also. And you say, are you willing to sign it?
Yeah.
I think it would be overwhelming. It could be 99% who would say, you know what, I've done enough for God and country. I'm going to go home. I'm not going to run for re-election. I'm actually going to resign today. And I think that's the problem is, I'm not saying we need self-righteous, perfect people, but it's, why are you running? Are you running to just get a title, to use it to insider trader and making money and doing deals? Or are you doing it because you want to give up everything you have? Because like you and I, and everyone who serves in the military,
it should be a selfless action.
Exactly, because we all raise our right hand the same way in the military. As elected, you're swearing an oath to America, to the Constitution, to do the right thing, and to willing to give your life if that's what it calls. And I don't think the majority, and I'm not saying everybody's perfect in the past, but it was a different set of morals and values.
Yeah.
And today, very few people have values that they're willing to die on and draw a line in the sand. I think that's the core thing of what we need more in politics. And I always encourage, specifically, veterans, not that we're all perfect, but like we have an extra love for our country, for integrity, character, honor, doing the right thing. And I think that's what's killing us, is people who are running, and I've been down for 11 years, they're running for a title.
Yeah.
They love the wine and dining, going out for steak dinners, fine wine and whiskey, all paid by lobbyists.
I'm sure it gets addictive, yeah.
It does.
A little bit of power, a little bit of networking, a little bit of after you do this, you get a job, a little bit of,
Oh, yeah. And I could have done the same thing. I could have just used my resume and kind of just, chugging along, just falling in line. And I could still have the all-American resume, be like, I'm done all this in the military. And but then who are you serving?
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, man. I think you got a good thing going. I think that will definitely. I'm gonna push your message anyways because I don't know the other candidates, and I really don't give a shit to, honestly, because I know you well enough.
Appreciate it.
Because you're a good dude, man, and I don't say that about everyone who's on the conservative side because I'm almost a libertarian myself, but I think that lately, like those titles have switched up, so they're almost interchangeable with how things are going. Because it's I've heard the phrase of like an early 2000 or 1998 conservative or Democrat is a like 2025 conservative now. It's like actually. We're cool with gay people. We're cool with all that stuff. You sound like a Democrat in 1998. It's like, no, I think a lot of shit is common sense, man.
Yep.
And
I think it's really to get back to, I talk all the time, like, my biggest thing I bring is common sense and sniffing out BS. I think I'm an expert on those two things. I don't know every single thing. I don't know every single industry, right? But I think a big thing is like being willing to sit down with anybody and everybody. And I go win this LG, and I believe I can win it, and I will win it.
Yeah.
Is I'm going to travel. You're not going to see me just every 4 years. You see that a lot in politics. Until it's re-election time, then the politicians come out, right, and they start flexing. But, it's traveling the state. You will see me as lieutenant governor in the ghetto, the trailer parks, everywhere. Because I think that's what a leader is you're going down there, you're sitting down, you're talking, you're spending time saying, hey, what policy is crushing your community? What's hurting? Is it taxes, regulations, whatever it is? And then your job is to go be a voice, again, for common sense, not peer pressure, not money, not lobbyist money, and then go push it.
So how's it work with, so explain to me, like, lieutenant governor versus governor and what the roles and responsibilities are.
Yeah, so the lieutenant governor, so I'll preside, just like the speaker presides over the House.
Okay.
I preside over the Senate. So during session, January to like 1st of April, I'll preside over the Senate. So I'm, calling up the bills and all that to be voted on. So you do have a lot of influence, flex, a bad bill's coming up going, well, I'm not pulling that bill to the floor, And so you can really push a lot of, your agenda, because you are the lieutenant governor presiding over the Senate, so you have a lot of influence and control. And then if something happens to the governor, you would step into his spot, if he was to pass away or something. So you're the number 2 in the state. But the biggest thing is presiding over the Senate. And then also you get a lot of a ton of appointments all across the state, different agencies, different boards, all that. Okay. So you will be able to appoint people, which I know with me is, and we've talked a lot about this, is not just pointing somebody who was one of your buddies or who donated to you, but putting the best people in the positions. Like you've done a ton in your life, and it's like you have your expertise, but that's the best spot for you, right? And it's not just going, oh, well, Josh, you're my boy, so I'm just going to give you this position just because you're my boy.
Yeah. Well, a true test is if you can fire your friend. Honestly,
exactly.
Because, talent management's huge.
Yep.
Like, that's why I'm on this side, not over there, because I've got smart people back there doing that shit, So,
yep. No, exactly. And you always want the best in the position. I've seen too much in politics. I've been down there for 11 years.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you're my buddy, so I'm going to point you to this. And you have people across the state who are in some appointments, not saying all of them, but there are some who shouldn't be there. Their resume, they don't have the experience, and they get put over some, big department. And it's like, you have no experience besides so-and-so was your buddy. And I think that needs to change. I've told people all the time, like, I don't care if you're my family. I love my family. But, like, I don't care.
But if you're overseeing some, like, health committee or something.
And you have no health experience.
You don't know how to give an IV
Yeah.
or understand any of that. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you should, have someone in that position coming from a background of healthcare. I don't know. Some, it's
and that's why we're seeing a lot of problems federally and statewide is you put people in positions because they gave you a massive donation. And so you go, well, you're my biggest donor, so I'm just going to give you this appointment. And that's what's wrong, too. It's like, no, because you and I did not go do all that we've done in the military. We did it because we love our country. We love our people. And it's like, no, I want the best people in those positions to do the best job available, And you see it across the state. I mean, when people are whining about a department, a lot of times, I believe it's the leadership, not valuing.
That's I know one thing I'm going to hit you on is explain to us the committee that oversees the power distribution in Georgia. I know that's a pretty hot topic, just because I really don't understand it. I know me and my friends have talked about it, like who decides who. Maybe this is like an Atlanta thing, but is there like a commissioner? Is that how that works? There's a power commissioner guy that's in charge of that, or
wait, power? You mean like energy and all that?
Yeah, the energy stuff.
Oh yeah, so that's a public service commission, and they oversee the utilities like power rates and all that going up and all that. Which we just had the election.
Okay,
and we
right.
lost.
I know that was like a big thing for us.
Yeah, we lost 2 statewide Republican candidates. But yeah, they decide a lot of times, whether the rates go up or go down or they stay the same.
So is that based on the economy? Is it based on consumption? What are those rates based on?
I mean, I'm not on the Public Service Commission, but I mean, it's a mixture. But I mean, I think we've seen it go way up, and I think that's the problem too. Is like, are we running? I know a lot of people were upset with how the rates were going up.
Right.
And I believe this is who are you fighting for? Are you fighting for the big, power companies? Or are you fighting for the people? Because, I mean, I know the people are getting crushed right now. You know that. I mean, here in Dalton, getting crushed, property taxes, period, energy bills.
I know my property tax has gone up here for sure. Yeah, I mean, my mortgage went up by, I think, I don't know, a few $100 this past year.
But then what's crazy is then you see Georgia Power gets
my road's still messed up in front of my house. I know that, so I don't know.
Call your commissioner. But I mean, just like Georgia Power, their revenue went up, profit 40% last year. Yeah. But then our rates have been going up. It's like, there's a balance to where I'm all about companies making the most they can.
Like, how can they explain why, if the math doesn't add up, where does that decision come back to? Is it like, who does it benefit? It's not benefiting me.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
do you have to wonder the pay to play? It's like,
You know.
wait, so who's funding your campaign?
Right.
Who's funding the stuff you're doing? Like,
Nobody wants to talk about
yeah,
it.
is it the special interest? And I think the biggest thing is, and I've shown it. I mean, just the story I told about giving up my chairmanship. I mean, I gave it up. I knew what was coming.
Yeah,
I was being a
yeah.
voice for a young girl who had no voice in her
You have a
family.
backbone.
Yeah, it's like, do you have a backbone to say? And I know I have it. Is as lieutenant governor, someone comes to me and goes, "Hey, don't go lower property tax," which is one of my big priorities. Is I mean, I want to protect our seniors. From 60 on, they don't pay the middle class and down. I'm not going to pay a property tax. You've been paying the system for 40 plus years. I don't think you should be paying one when you're on a fixed income and all that. And then also just capping it and bringing down property tax. But I mean,
Which makes sense.
yeah.
Well, how can someone disagree with that?
Well, but then you have all these counties going, well, we need a certain amount of revenue. And it's like, but here's my point. I know we have waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, across the state, counties, cities, and all that. And it's like,
Anywhere there's a government, there's a waste, fraud, and abuse.
100%. And it's like, I mean, I'll tell them as lieutenant governor, they say, well, you're reducing some of our revenue. It's like, look, I'll be glad my office as lieutenant governor to come and look at your books and figure out how we can, manage your county and make sure we still afford the things that you need to afford. I guarantee they would tell me real quick, you know what, David, we don't need you to come down. We have it fixed. Because they don't want you to look at the books. And I think too much of the time is like, we should be held accountable. We should be doing audits, doing Doge. I don't care.
A municipality or local government, it should be what kind of business model is that, right? It should be a cost reduction, not a surplus in revenue.
They'll
Because
always,
if it's tax revenue,
Yeah.
you should be figuring out how to lower your costs, not increase your revenue.
they're always doing that. I mean, and my whole thing is this too, is like, okay, the number one thing that you care about, I know it, and me and everyone here in Georgia, is you want to be able to afford food for your kids, put a roof over their head. Like, I like the parks and the greenways and all that, but here's the thing. If I can't provide the basics for my family, I don't give a flip about anything else, right? And I think that's...
I'll say it for you, fuck. Go ahead.
There you go. But, right? I mean, and I think too much we get this thing of we look at the voters as just a number.
Yeah.
Instead of that's a human being who's trying to pay their bills. And the majority of Georgians and Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You know that. I have friends who are just trying to pay their bills, pay their health care and all this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think when you get to a point, at least my heart, is like every dollar of taxpayer dollars, that's their money, right? And it's like we need to utilize it. And if we can cut costs, cut waste, fraud, and abuse, we should be doing that because the more we can give back, people are struggling. I mean, I don't know how people are affording houses and rent right now. I was talking to my wife. I was like, if we started back in our first house and all this, we couldn't afford what we have. And I don't know how people, young people, and even the elderly are
it's
affording
crazy.
prices right now.
I know. Like, if you right now, you look at $100,000 a year, and you're like, oh, that's six figures. You go try to get an apartment in Atlanta or Marietta, even out here, $100,000 a year doesn't get you far.
No, it
anymore.
doesn't. And it used to, and
You're
it doesn't
paying
anymore.
way more in taxes on that income, federal, state. Rent is, you go look at a one-bedroom apartment, a decent one, in a decent area, you're looking at $1,800.
Yep.
That's crazy. A third of your income.
If not more than that. I mean,
that's a third of your income. And you got stuff on top of that, monopolies on the internet and all that stuff. You have to pay a certain amount to live a mediocre, comparatively, what you could live on a much lower salary that you can now. It's just nuts.
And I always say this is like, we have two options we're going towards. You look at Mamadani or whatever his name up, the new mayor of New York. It's like, we'll go into socialism or we stick to capitalism. But if we don't bring affordability back into the American dream, into everyday life, we're going to go towards socialism and socialism doesn't work. It doesn't. I mean, in the end, it's hell. But it's like, if we don't wake up, there is crony capitalism where it's always about hooking up the big monopolies. And again, I'm not against these major companies, but we have to be fighting for the small businesses, the everyday person. Yeah. And if we can't bring back affordability, and affordability is not, bringing in Section 8 housing, all this stuff. I mean, really what it is unleashing capitalism where we stop playing crony capitalism and we fight for the little guys just as much. Bringing down, if rent comes down low, housing affordability and all this and groceries, and these other big companies aren't trying to get the extra dollar. There has to be a middle ground because, I always say this is, say Walmart, right? Or whoever it is. I mean, if we go towards socialism, you're not going to have your capitalistic company anymore, right? And so it's like, there's a point to where, okay, you double your profit, that's great. But that means you brought in more than you really needed. You just double your profit in the last few years.
Yep.
You could have cut costs, and you can't blame it on inflation. Sometimes companies are getting so greedy, and I say this as a whole in America. We're all getting, and like I talked about our founding fathers and who they were, and they're willing to give their today for our tomorrow, is we have too many people who, and you see this with some of our friends, it's always about me, 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 when we have to get back to, no, what can I do for my country? What can I do for my community?
Yeah.
I'm willing to give my life if that means my kids have a future. They have an America that they can call call theirs, and that they're proud of.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, our economy is you have givers and takers, and you can't have too many of each. That's why, and we talked about this on the phone.
Yeah. Yep.
Like America's a mixed economy. You have to have a social net, and you have to have capitalism. That's how that works. It intertwines together, and once you go too far one way, it fails. Socialism, communism. You go too far the other way, they're going to take all the fucking money, and then you have no one. Once you steal all the money, you have the money left, right? Now what?
Yep.
And if you give all you give all the tax money away, you have no money left. Then what do? Like, you have to have a balanced, mixed economy, and good people figure that out, right?
And we got to a point now. It's just like we're giving so much away; it's unsustainable. We're like 2.5 years away from bankruptcy, the federal government, if we don't change course, which is crazy. And that's why I tell people, it's like, you keep talking like Mama Donnie, whenever it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a city run or a New York City run grocery store. It's free. Like, what are you talking about?
Who's gonna pay for it?
Who's gonna pay for it? Because
that's fine. Have that there. But you figure that out. Whose money you're gonna take for that? Because you can have social nets. That's fine, but everything can't be free.
But I'll tell you this: I chaired the welfare. I chaired a welfare fraud study committee in 2015 when I came in, because my family came from dirt poor, nothing, didn't go on vacation, didn't go out to eat. So I have a heart for people who have nothing. We all do well now, not wealthy, but we do better than we
got
did.
out the mud.
Yeah, out of the mud. My parents bought their first house when they were in their 40s, so it's like we grew up rough, Yeah, I get it. But I remember when I chaired it, I found out from 2004, and it shows you all these promises of new stuff when we already spend enough. We just need to go audit and make sure we're using it wisely. 2004 to 2014, in food stamps alone nationwide, improperly paid out. Never should have been paid out. So we're not talking about the poor. Improperly paid out. Guess how much it was in 10 years?
Oh, got me. $100 million.
Almost exactly $1 trillion.
$1 trillion?
Almost exactly $1 trillion. Now,
in this one state?
No, in the nation.
Oh, shit.
But $1 trillion is
still a
hell of a lot. And it's like, that's why it's like, what, if we just paused everything, we raise way enough tax. Enough, charging people taxes and getting all this revenue. We need to be accountable for what we have, because we have way enough. We're just wastefully spending money left and right. And I think, as Lieutenant Governor, I'm going to dig in and be transparent and upfront with the people. It's like, we have enough to take care of the people we need to take care of, but like, we don't need to be spending all this extra money.
You just got to spend it right.
Spend it wisely. You always have to stretch a dollar. I know there's been times in your life, I'm sure, it's like, you're like, man, I can't go do that, or I need to pull back on this because this month is tight. And it's like, but with government, it's like, oh, we'll just print some more money, we'll raise taxes.
It's like they have a credit card, but they don't ever have to pay it.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, I don't have to pay it, so, fuck it.
And hey, it's not my money,
right. Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's the people's money and people who are struggling, and how can we give back? So, I think that's a big thing. It's just having people who are not living for the title and, common sense.
Well, you got our support. You guys voting for him? Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You just got two more right here. Of course she is.
Oh, yeah. But no, I'm feeling good. We're going to campaign till May 19th. Give it to God. Give it to the voters.
Stay on it. I'm excited to see where you're going. I'm excited to see. So when? How can people in their local elections? How can they vote? When do they vote for this specific? So
May 19th. I'll be the top of the ballot. There's 5 of us, but because of my last name, the C, I'll be first on the ballot. So just stop right there. Just stop. Yeah, exactly. Stop right there. Hit David Clark, and you're good to go. But no, I'm running on more. My core thing, and people can take away, is I'm the only battle tested candidate running in this race. Whether it's serving overseas in defense of my nation. It's an honor to serve as a Green Beret, serve overseas, all that. But like, second, I've taken on the left, and there was some radical ideology, like we talked about the trans stuff of men going in women's sports needs to stop. But but then also the third is being able to take on members of your own party when they're not doing the right thing. And I'm the only one who's done that. So if that's the type of guy you want,
and I know that because you've told me, you've talked about it.
Yeah, and I'll continue.
And that's why you're
doing that.
I
appreciate it.
I'm a pretty centrist guy.
Yeah.
And which I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything because we're American. But that's why you fully have my support, because we've had these conversations, and I'm like, okay, this is a dude I can totally get behind. You know, he's no bullshit. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to tell the truth, and he's not going to be scared to fight somebody about it. So, like,
and I'm always willing, and I've told people, you can call my office. I mean, even now as lieutenant governor, I don't care if you voted for me, you're in the same party, if you got money, your status. If there's something that's done wrong, your voice will be heard. I will listen to you and I will fight for you. You know, because, I mean, I believe, and go back to my faith, is, you know, I think it's this, and the Bible says it. If you hurt a kid, right, or a woman, somebody weaker, really, it's all the same. It's better to go hang a millstone around your neck and go drown yourself. Like, be a voice, stand for the voiceless, do the right thing, and don't be political. And I'm never going to change. I mean, I don't think I talk like a politician. Yes, I'm elected, but I am no career politician. I'm not going to be that. And I think, too, our past is like, it sticks to me, though. It's like, whether it's time overseas in combat or whether it's my faith, but it's like, I know tomorrow, especially being in the military, both of us, it's like, tomorrow is not promised. I even know now, back at home, like, I know tomorrow I could be gone. And I know I want to echo for eternity.
Especially driving in Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's crazy traffic, and I'm always packing down there.
Yeah.
But no, it's just doing the right thing. And if you have that mindset of tomorrow I might not be around, so today do all the good I can, you're not going to fail. You're not going to mess up. You know, and I mean, also I want to look at my wife in the face, in the eyes, my kids on my deathbed one day, saying I was a man. I did the right thing. I stood for people. I was a voice, had a backbone. You know, because, I mean, you can be fake to your sons, but they're going to see it.
Yeah.
I want them to know that at all times their dad was willing to give up everything.
That's a good way to live, man. That's a good thing to live by. I know I've been told before, like, what are people going to say at your funeral? And if you think about that, and you always think about, like, hey, what are they going to say about Josh whenever, you know, they're speaking about him? You know, who's going to show up? What are they going to talk about? If you kind of think about what conversation that's, you know, what that's going to look like, you kind of start to live a certain type of way, you know. So
especially as men, though, it's like, I mean, there is men and women, and we each made amazing. But, like, I mean, as men, because we can speak as men, but it's like, dude, where's those lines in the sand, right? I think it's what America's lost. It's like being a man. What are your lines you want to die on? I think very few people have those lines. And I know, I mean, my sons are my sons are 3 and 1, but when they get to like 5 on, I'm gonna be raising them. No, there are some lines in the sand, like women, children, the weaker. You die right there on the spot if you have to.
Yeah,
you don't turn a blind eye. You stand up. If it's 100 versus 1, right? You stand up. But I don't think today, and I think it's a problem. Men, and I always say this to young men, the world is decided between men, whether it's violent or peaceful. Enough good men stand up, willing to lose everything, do the right thing. That's what life's about. And I think we've lost that. I mean, you look at the Titanic. Today, you know this. The majority of men now, if they were on that ship, today's men, they would be pushing the women out of the way, getting on the boat, saying, oh, I'm a billionaire. I mean, how many rich guys, some of the richest men in America died on the Titanic?
Yeah.
And they were like, no, women go first. But today, you know how it is. It's like, oh, I'm a politician. I'm a lieutenant governor. I must get back, you know, to Georgia because they need my leadership. And it's like, bro, somebody can replace you. It's okay.
Yeah, try that on a Carnival Cruise Line, homie.
Yeah, exactly. But I think
see what happens.
But I think we need to get back to that, though. You know what I'm saying? Having morality and having real men and people who stand on convictions and values and morals and hold the line. So
at least, a line in the sand, brother.
Yeah, exactly. So this has been awesome. I've loved this.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you came out. I know you had a little drive, and we got a lot of work to do today. So I think if you have time, we might drive around Dalton. Introduce you to some people.
I love it.
And I'm glad you came out. And hopefully we can have a conversation again soon.
Definitely.
And, hopefully see you on the trail.
Yeah.
So
and then one day I'll come over as the lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
be on the podcast.
Yeah, I'll protect you. All right.